Welcome to the Real Triathlon Podcast. I'm your host, Garrick Lowen, here with Nicholas Chase and Jackson Laundry.
Oh, wow. Welcome back to the Real Triathlon Podcast with myself, Liserton and Jackerton. Thank you for joining us. Lisa is a professional triathlete with hair of color blonde and a great smile. She loves her dog, and Jackson always has to be in a hat of that stature, even when he gets groceries.
Especially at the grocery store.
How are things going there, everybody?
Or I wear two hats.
It's good. We've had, at least in Colorado, we've had like a week of warmer weather, which was such a pleasant surprise. It was around like in the 60s a lot, 60 Fahrenheit, which is wonderful for this time of the year. So
Is it dipping back down there? Because it is here.
yeah, I think so. It's supposed to rain or sleet or snow tomorrow potentially, which is posing a little bit of a problem because I'm supposed to race this TT, this time trial here in town on Saturday, and it's like a high of 50 or 52, but the low is like 25. It's called the Frostbite time trial. It kicks off the Colorado road racing season.
I like it.
Yeah, so we'll see if...
It sounds like she's about a third the volume of Nick. Is that what everybody else's?
I don't know. Lisa sounds good to me.
Yeah, I feel like you're just quiet.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You quiet.
Nick sounds loud.
Yes.
That good?
The deep voice. Yeah, that sounds good. I think having it close to your mouth is a good move.
All right, we'll do it.
Oh, that's good.
All right, so what are we doing? We're Nick's trying to do an Ironman.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's almost died a couple times based off. He'll just send me a message, just be like, "Man, this training is fucked, man. I can't do it." And I'm like, I can't even run, so I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah. It's been a few years since I've taken, I haven't never raced my first race of the year as a full distance Ironman. So for me, this is very new. And I haven't even really, I've trained hard in the past few years, but I've been really writing a lot of my training for the last few weeks and using James to kind of like look it over. And he's like, "Oh, well, that's going to fuck you up pretty good there, bud. Just hope we may need to dial this one." So I've been putting up to like 27 to 30 hour weeks, just trying to make sure I show up nutritionally ready. I put a blood glucose meter on this time because I've always bonked later in the runs. This has nothing to do with Lionel, by the way. Fucking has nothing to do with that.
I've seen you wearing that thing years before, so.
Yeah, like I'm not just doing it because Lionel thought he had diabetes. Like I'm doing it because like I want to check to make sure that when I do have low glycemic issues, which happens, a lot of Ironmans for me, I want to get ahead of that. So that's the goal for this one. Whatever happens, to make sure I'm not having any nutritional issues. And I've been working with fuel in, all that stuff. So honestly, like pretty happy with everything. It's just a lot this time of year when I see everyone just doing like road bike rides and I'm like just doing TT rides for 5 hours and running off the bike forever. Like, just slow.
So Nick, is the week is, or the race is less than 4 weeks away, right?
Yeah, it's actually great. It's the last day of March. I think it's the 30th. So, and most people probably don't know, but Jackson was supposed to come with me. Well, it was more or less this is his fault, I guess. This was him being like, "Hey, let's."
I was like, "This will be great, man. There's nothing could go wrong. You're gonna come here. We'll hang out. We'll fly to Africa. Cody will join us, and he's still going and everything."
Yeah.
And then the one time Nick was like going totally out of his way to do this race, I get injured, can't go. So
yeah, I don't think that's been talked about yet. So kind of run us through what you've been going through with the injury and kind of headspace and all the stuff that you've been crying about that we haven't heard about.
Well, geez, I guess I haven't really talked about it on the podcast. I have the old broken metatarsal in the foot from a combination mostly of probably running with plantar fasciitis for like 3-4 months. So I was running like weird with my more pressure on the fourth metatarsal. And then also with a lot of crappy weather we had for pretty much all of the winter up until now, There's a ton of slippery footing, which makes it just worse. Any plantar fasciitis is always getting worse with bad footing. So pretty much just did that for too long, and then all of a sudden it broke the bone there, and that sucked. But
it's not a stress fracture, right? Like it's a full on, like you fractured.
no, it's a
your
full on
foot.
fracture. So I think it was probably just a stress fracture for a short period of time. Like it wasn't sore in that area of my foot at all, and then it was sore one day, a little bit, and then 2 days later it was broken. So it went from like tiny little break fracture thing to like full on fracture. But honestly, I think it's pretty much impossible to catch a stress fracture like that, because like it wasn't even painful really. It was just like a bit sore, and then it just broke. So
Yeah.
if I was to not run every time something was a little bit sore, I would never be running. So
Yeah.
what can you do? But anyway, it's been 3.5 weeks now, and I'm back to full on biking and swimming, other than like all out sprints. Like in the swim, I can do everything up to a threshold effort, even higher now probably. Like today I did a bunch of hundreds, like threshold, and then the bike, I've gotten up to like some 4-minuters, up close to 400, and no problem. So I'm pretty much able to do anything I need now, and I'm just biking and swimming a fair bit, and then I can't run, obviously. Can't even walk, although today I did get the lever, installed that bad boy, and I can walk with that, like a little bit. Like I can't walk fast, but I can at least walk with reduced weight to like get my leg used to it. Been doing a little bit of water running, so I think within the next week I'll be able to walk on the treadmill at like an uphill grade to like get a little bit of a workout in, and then probably another couple weeks, probably at least 2.5 weeks from now, until I can do a tiny bit of running. So we'll see. But it's been a bit of a shitter for the start of the year, but refocus. And now Nick has, what is it, like it's like a crazy journey. Tell us the whole journey.
Oh boy. So this was going to be it still is the plan. Just thank goodness Cody's still going, because if I was doing this by myself, I'd be super sad. So I'll come to Fly to Guelph or Toronto. Jackson will pick me up on Friday. I'll take a red eye, and
Okay, yeah.
I'll get there Saturday morning. Jackson will pick me up around 6:30.
Can't wait to get up. I was about to complain about having to get up early on a freaking weekend to pick him up, and I was like, I don't know. He probably, and then I was like, would he do it for me? I don't know. He might say, just take a fucking shuttle. There's no good shuttle service here, though, so I'll come get you, because the Ubers are like $150.
I think that's why I like asked you if it was still okay, because I knew it was early for you. But then once you said, well, at least it's a Saturday, we'll miss the traffic, I was like, you're right. It won't be as bad because it won't be work traffic.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fine, and we'll be an hour from the airport to my house.
And we can get breakfast. We can catch up like good old times.
Oh, yeah.
Lengthen our day of hanging out. So that'll happen. I'll probably do a light swim or something with Jackson, just hang out. And then the next day, Cody and I fly, I think at like 6 p.m. out of Toronto to Zurich. And then we will stay the night. I think there's like a 12-hour layover or something. We'll stay.
I think you stay until the evening or something like that.
Yeah. So
It's
Because
not
I had this
full.
plan too. This was going to be my plan.
Yeah, it was. Still could be. Did you cancel her yet?
I did cancel it, yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So then we'll stay the night, Zurich, wake up the next day, and we'll fly to, I think, Johannesburg. And then that's like the flight from Toronto to Zurich is like what, like 7
hours probably.
That's not too bad.
I mean, it's not bad if you could sleep a lot of it, but sometimes you don't want to sleep during that time of the day because you're like trying to assimilate to the future time zone. So that's a bit of a shitter. But then from Zurich to Johannesburg, it's like 10 more hours of flying. Like that's
This is so crazy.
that's the kind of the kick. And then we've got a layover in Johannesburg. It's not very long, a couple hours. And then we go to Port Elizabeth. And then I don't know how we're getting to the hotel, but we'll be at the hotel that's close to the race site. And I'm bringing my indoor trainer. I have an athlete who I've coached to this race. So I have a lot of good insights. Everybody who's ever done it, by the way, they've got nothing but great things to say about South Africa in general. Like, I think it's going to be awesome, honestly. Once we get there, we just got to get there. So that's the journey. The way home sucks too, because I leave on like Tuesday and I get home on Friday. Like,
Oh,
Are you staying another night in Guelph again or not?
no, like I'm landing in Guelph. I'm gonna have to take my bags and recheck them in through to another direct flight from
Toronto, yeah.
But I have like a 5 or 6 hour layover, so I'll just get lounge access or something like that.
Jackson will come drive and hang out with you in the lounge.
Nah, he doesn't have to do that, but I'm stoked. It looks like Laidlow may not be doing it. Like I think he put a post up like he's not feeling good. Looks like Ditliv and the other dude in Lanza have been training real hard. So I think it'll still be a heavy hitting race. I'm pretty excited to just be there.
Did live in Van Rio, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Just
Daniel Backegard, he's racing it too.
I don't know. We'll see who actually shows up. Because Jackson told me, he was like, "Look, man, it's real hard to get there. It's real early in the year. Most of these guys won't even show up." So, see what
Well, there
happens.
you go. If Laidlow's already saying probably not, and then you've got just the start list is not as giant as a bunch of them. The toss up, you never know, but
True. But New Zealand happened. That was a good one. Good. Did anyone keep up?
yeah,
with
Yeah.
we did.
But happy
I
to see
honestly,
Joe
I was
Skipper.
following Colin, and then I really wanted my buddy Joe Skipper to have a good old bounce back, which he did. That was, in my mind, very important for him. But I don't think he was ever really gone. I think he just got a little bad luck, a little bit of, maybe choices for race wise that weren't ideal last year. And then once your confidence gets knocked down, it's just like it can really take a toll. And so there you go. He's back. But Colin had a great day. He almost pulled it together in the end of the run. He just started to run out of gas, but he's the constant optimist. So that fella, I swear, he could crash in a race and break everything and be like, well, this is awesome. Now I get to see how I can recover and it'll be fun. And so congrats, Colin. What place did he end up coming in?
I
I think it was 19th or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so is Collins going to South Africa, or did he pull the plug? He's coming.
He's Colin will still be there. He's like, I don't know. I got this thing in me where I can just like jet lag, time zones. I don't feel it. I just show up and I'm never tired. I sleep anytime I want to sleep. So just turn the switch on and off and I'm good.
Oh,
Seriously?
dream.
Oh man, that's a skill.
He's coming back to Boulder now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
That's South Africa. And then I don't think anyone else is really getting after it until Oceanside. That'll be Lisa and Greg and Mark. Mm-hmm. We'll have a bunch of our other RTS conglomerates out there, like some other pros and some elite age groupers. And then St. George, we'll have a big party. Seems like everyone's going to make it, except, unfortunately, I think Kate Curran might not come. I don't know if Garrick's coming. He better come. But
Yeah.
No, he's coming. He's coming. It's just a matter of, I'm pretty sure he said, it's just a matter of like, is he going to race or is he just going to,
party.
yeah.
There's
Man,
a
I
good-
can't believe it's the last year for St. George. That's so crap.
Well, here's my plan. I've gotten a lot of insights as to why this race is kind of like seeing a little bit of the fizzle. So from the city itself, it's because the city's grown quite a lot, substantially, like doubled the population in a couple of years. Like you could get a house for not a lot, and now it's like millions. It's freaking stupid. And due to that, and Ironman also asking for more and not providing more, like they want more and they're not going to provide more. And the city's like, you're disrupting most everything. You're not investing back into it from the wear and tear or for our first responders. We got to have more of them. And we got to change the course. And they weren't willing to change the course because the course is really the biggest disruptions. It shuts down most of the major thoroughfare through the town. And so that's kind of why, like the town has kind of outgrown the race and it needs to be adjusted. And so there's like a period of time where nobody can come in like a non-compete. But I'm working with another company to try to bring in this event. We may change some things about the race, but after this period is kind of off, we'll try to bring in another event. Like that's my goal, is to keep it going here. I have an NDA, so I can't really talk a whole lot about specifics, but that would be my goal in the future, is to keep this triathlon vibe going here in the USA. And I think it can happen. We just have to adapt to the new, like make it cool. Not like, I think about it, I'm like, how many races do you finish like in the middle of a stupid field or like someplace where it's pretty dumb and you're like, it's still 1,200 people still showed up. Like, as long as you have got like a pretty good vibe, like you could put on a good race. And I think St. George has, even if it's not the same situation, we can have a still good race.
Yeah, I was going to say, just being out at the reservoir, I know there's a lot of local races that just run their triathlons. They're shorter sprints and Olympics, but like just run it out of the reservoir and have it in that ecosystem opposed to like actually coming, downtown St. George. Even though like if you do miss Snow Canyon, that's such a big aspect and highlight of the course, it would be.
I think we would try to keep that for sure. But I think
Snow Canyon.
I think utilizing a lot more of the running on the bike paths we have tons of bike paths in St. George, and nobody uses them for like the triathlon part. And I think the bike traffic stuff can be rerouted to be less invasive, but still include some Snow Canyon, and it still needs to be iconic for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, the last race for the foreseeable future, I think they'll probably put another Utah race on somewhere. I heard through the grapevine they might be bidding on something like that. But it's like, where else is there? You're going to be at altitude for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about Park City or any of those? I haven't been up there.
Park City's so hilly. It would be
It'd be
mountain
an
climbing.
awesome race if you did it in Park City. It would just be at like between 5,000 and 7,000 feet, depending on if it was in like Deer Creek or Jordanelle Reservoir. Like, there's plenty of places to swim. You could probably do it out in Camas where there's like less people, but it would just be at altitude. There's tons of good places though.
I'm excited to see how Boise 70.3 that shapes up this year, because it was I think a race that's been around for a while and then disappeared, and now it's
Is
back.
it a pro race too?
Yeah, not a pro
is it?
series race. It's end of
June?
July.
July.
Like 28th, 9th, something.
I think I'll have to do that one for sure. Just because I honestly haven't put a lot of time and effort into my race schedule. Like right now, all I'm doing is for sure South Africa, St. George, like Chattanooga's a couple weeks later. That could be fun. Chattanooga's awesome. But then Roth, and then I don't have anything else until like I decided to do Patagon Man again in December. So like
You did?
yes.
Ooh, good for you.
It's so good over there. It's like such a freaking cool event.
Yeah. Wow.
So I got a lot of races to fill in there. It looks like everyone else is publishing theirs. Like, here's my face. Here's my 7 races. Social media.
Boise's the week after Lake Placid. It's only 6 days after Lake Placid.
Ooh,
so I don't know if you want to do
dirty.
Lake Placid. But yeah, so we've got.
Wait, Jackson. How was your race schedule changed with the situation you're dealing with?
Yeah, I heard a little birdie rumor told me something by the name of Marcus Dubrick. Told me some
Dark
good
Market?
told me some
My
good
options
news.
are still open at this point. It's looking like it'd be a pretty tough ask for me to do like any type of run at the Ironman series. With basically this needed to happen like probably maybe even a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier. Then I probably could have gotten in like 6-8 weeks of running before Texas. But now it's like best case scenario, it'll be like 5 weeks of running, something like that. So that's not really like something I feel like is going to be exciting to go try to do an Ironman in a series that's going to be insanely competitive, having barely run, and certainly not like, even if everything goes amazing, my longest run in the month of April is going to be like maybe 20K if I'm lucky. So I'm not going to go do a marathon off that. It just doesn't sound like a good idea.
Call Kat Matthews and Lucy Charles and ask them how they did it. They did that shit like multiple times. Annie Hogg, they don't run for like 8 months, and they're like, I just did a 2:30 off the bike. I don't know how.
Yeah, but they don't do it off of like, they have a proper comeback period. I don't know. Anyways, it's so maybe like if I come back to running in like 2.5 weeks, I start running and I can actually run and I can kind of ramp up decently quick, there's a small chance that I'll be like, all right, I'll do Texas, see how it goes. But I think there's a higher chance of that not feeling like the right option, in which case I'm probably going to not really chase the series this year, and I'll still probably get at least 4 races in, but only 1 full. And maybe just like, if I do 4 races and they all go decently, I'll probably be top 50, get the $2,000 or whatever it is. and then I'll just do what I normally do and go after the races that make sense and that sound fun and freaking crush some 70.3s. And I'll still do Placid. That'll be my Ironman for the year.
And next year we'll just start with New Zealand. We'll go to Wanaka, and then we'll do New Zealand. We'll get an early start.
We'll see. But if I can, what Mark probably told you is there's a decent chance I might do St. Anthony's just because it's a frickin' 10K and like it's way different than doing an Ironman that day. Because if I can just get any type of speed and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll run like 70.3 pace, but that it's not that long. It's not that much slower. So I could see that happening. And because it's good prize purse, good race, good vibes. Never been on the frickin' podium there. I've been fourth like 16 times. Just kidding. I think I was fourth 3 times in a row. And then I'm like, I'm going to get on the podium once and for all. And then I got 7th. And then I'm like, screw this race. I'm leaving.
And then I moved away, so I don't live there anymore. There's no reason to go back.
Yeah, basically. But anyways, no, I think it'd be cool and a good way to kind of get back into the race vibe without like having to do a freaking Ironman. So,
And like, not obviously I would never want you to get injured, but I'm happy. I want like 70.3 Jackson back because that means I get to like see you more on like
on the circuit.
On the circuit, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, post
I like it. I think it might end up being a better season for me as a result. Like, who knows? Because something about chasing the series, there's just such a high opportunity cost for it. It's expensive to go to some of these races like South Africa. Sorry. Yeah. But like the thing is, everything has to go well, and even if the 5th of your 5 races goes bad, there's your chance for a top 10. Like maybe I could get like 15th, but that's not really going to do too much. So I think kind of hammering the 70.3 series, and it gives me more opportunity now where I'm like, okay, now I can do maybe I won't be ready by St. Anthony's and I'll just wait and then do St. George Chattanooga. But the plan now probably is to do 50-50 on St. Anthony's, probably not Texas. That's probably at about a 10% chance. And then almost for sure St. George, Chattanooga, Eagleman, maybe the Canadian Open PTO if T100 if I get in, which is the week after Eagleman. And then I'd have a decent 7 weeks or whatever until Placid. And then we'll see from there, kind of hit the North American circuit, I guess.
Sick. I like it. All right. So back into some non-race schedule stuff. Ironman released some new rules. They did run Race Ranger at Challenge Wanaka also for Challenge. They did that. So that's great. I don't know if Ironman will start adapting that yet, to be determined. But in terms of rules that kind of are good, but kind of are like, I can't wait to see how this is enforced, because it's probably going to be a shit show for the first couple of races, because there's always some speculation. Even last year, Jackson was like, they were like, wait a minute. What is this taped and glued and situation here?
That's not changed. That doesn't change anything.
Yeah. So I guess the rules are they reduced the drafting penalties at Ironman from 5 minutes down to 3 minutes for the old
3 minutes and a full or 2 minutes and a half.
Yeah. And then
so hang on, let's just comment on that one first.
Yes, go ahead.
I think that makes sense if they call more penalties.
Yes.
Because I think that's what we saw with PTO when they dropped penalties down. Now the referees weren't as terrified to call a penalty because it doesn't ruin your race completely, which I think is how it should be. Like, most of the time, legitimately, people probably aren't intentionally doing the things. They're maybe taking too many risks. They're like riding that line of distance, and they're not trying to go in the zone. Then they get in the zone and they back out. That should be a penalty. But a ref is like, oh, man, that looked accidental. I'm not going to give him a 5-minute penalty. Well, now it's 2 minutes for a half. So they probably will. I think we'll suspend full judgment on it, but I think if they do call more penalties, in my opinion, it does make more sense.
I agree to that, but if they don't, I think it's just a freaking waste of time. And I've always had a really strong opinion about drafting and drafting penalties to to the extent that I think athletes who are multiple offenders should get fined. Like, I know we're not in a sport that makes a lot of money, but if you wanted to stop, if you start taking monetary things away from them, then I don't know. And did you know back in the day, USA Triathlon, if you got more than 3 drafting penalties in a season, they revoked your elite racing license. Like, you are done. Like, isn't that?
I wonder how many times that was utilized though.
Right? Probably never.
Because they're like, I got Chuck on the payroll. I'm good.
I think I agree that stuff hasn't generally been enforced enough, and that accidentally going into a drafting zone and coming back out is not an excuse to not get a penalty, because if it's accidental, it means you were too close, and the yo-yo effect. Everyone knows the yo-yo effect. Like, it's not hard to figure out. If someone's coming up to an uphill and they're 10 people ahead of you in the group, you need to slow down way early because you're going to be launching into that zone. And, like, everybody knows this. Happens all the time. So either anticipate it and use that as an opportunity to pass the group, or anticipate it and slow down early so that you don't get into the back of the zone. It's pretty simple. So,
or if you go into the back of the zone, you go around. I saw that blatantly happening in the group that I was in at 70.3 Worlds, where someone in front of me, their light in front of them showed red, and then they backed out of the zone. And I feel like that's a character integrity thing that like I can't stand.
What if they backed out and then they went? They were like, all right, I'll pass.
That's okay. I'll give them like a 2-second, like, shit, I gotta go type of thing. But if you back out and never go, I don't know. I judge your character.
I hate seeing that. I hate it even more when the referee sees it and then they just
and doesn't call it. Yeah,
I've seen that before too.
And you're like, did you look? Race Ranger makes it so much easier. Like, it makes it blatant. I'm also a little bit disappointed that within those rules, the new Ironman rules, they did not enforce the 20-meter draft rule or lengthen the drafting zone.
That sucks. I wish they just went to 20.
It's
For
easy.
At least a pro race.
Yeah. Age groupers can stay at 12 and a half, whatever it is.
I don't think it's possible for the age group race to do that, honestly. There's not enough real estate out there for a lot of this to happen fairly, and it just create more problems. But for the pro race, it should. It definitely should. I bet that'll be next.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, you know what? We'll see. They haven't, at this point, all we know is that they haven't ever changed the draft distance, and now they've made draft penalties shorter. So far, that's not looking great.
Not the direction they're going.
So we'll see. Somebody should track. I wish somebody had the data of like, oh, this is how many penalties are called, and maybe there is. I don't know. We'll have to ask Thorsten.
Somebody who does. Jimmy.
Yeah, I bet you could email Ironman and ask how many penalties they did at specific races.
They're going to be like, nah, we fired that person who was keeping track of all that last year. Sorry.
So, anyway, yellow cards not changed. Next rule.
Water bottles. I've been doing one though, so give me the crack. All right. So first and foremost, there's a couple of changes that are big. The water bottle content, like they haven't really restricted, like in terms of BTA. Obviously, you can't have anything down your chest, and they haven't really adjusted the height of the water bottle, but you can only have 2 liters maximum up front between your arms in your saddle. 2 liters behind the saddle, 2 liters on the between your arms, and then you can have whatever you want on your frame, really. So I can't wait to see how they just like find a water bottle that fills the whole space of your frame, like just completely arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
There are ones that do that. They sit down in the bottom triangle. They just, I guess they don't fill the whole thing, but
what if they did fill the whole thing? I don't know if that would be more aero. In my mind, it would be more aero. It'd be like a disc wheel. Unless
it's a crosswind, then it's pretty dirty. You're just gonna get straight. You're like a page of a book just getting turned right over.
So I mean, these, and then the rear-mounted bottles, you can only have 2 water bottles, each with a maximum of 1 liter. So this is like not that restrictive, really. I mean, This is what all the reasonable people were maxing out. I think, what do we have? Ditlev was doing 3 bottles at Kona in the rear.
Ditlev showed up with some crazy contraption at Kona that had it connected to his rear forks or his rear wheel, and it went up and over
the rear axle.
Yeah, like connected to the rear axle, went up and over the wheel, and like supported a water bottle way back there. It was like this long tail. Like,
it was like total fairing. Apparently it saved him like 40 watts, and they're like, he's like, can I use this? And they're like, no.
Sorry, bro. Good idea, but no.
I think that's the reason why I like that they're allowing it to still be like, they're just limiting the size, and they're kind of saying otherwise you can do as you like. I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me.
Well, the 4-liter limit only applies to the back of the bike, behind the saddle, and cockpit. It does not restrict how much water you can carry inside your frame's triangle or within the frame itself. So
there's still plenty. Like if you have 2 liters in the back, 2 liters in the front, 2 liters on your frame, you got 6 liters.
Yeah,
you got 13 pounds of water.
You're never going to be able to get your bike up a hill.
I mean, I'm good with the restrictions in terms of setting a standard, because like we don't want to, like, if your best buddy's a 3D printer and like nobody else has that buddy, like you're definitely get a gain. It was like, who could get the most crazy creative wind tunnel time with the 3D printer. So anyways, that's a rule. But check this out. Ironman, or not Ironman, but in Germany, Triathlon Deutschland. I can't even read the full rule book because I can't find it anywhere in English, unfortunately. But they got rid of BTA, like anything that comes above, like you can't even have anything like that unless it's strictly between your arms. So nothing that rises above the cockpit. You can't have any of those BTA bottles at Roth anymore. So I can't wait till Roth comes out with like a, hey, don't show up with this. There's pictures of it. I'm looking at it right now. And it shows all these bikes, anything that is like the arms, and then anything that rises above the arms to fill in the gap of the chest, there's a big cross. Can't do that. But then if the bottle is level with your arm and just between, like it used to be pretty much, that's okay. And they also got, that Canyon rear kind of fairing bottle holder. You can't have that at Roth because it can't stick out to a certain extent. The German triathlon has like really taken a bit of a more strict stance on what you can or can't do.
So that's any race in Germany. Like you go to Germany, you can't have that. Huh.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure most Ironman would have to follow the regulations of that also.
So is Frankfurt in Germany?
It is. Yes, it is.
So for Ironman Frankfurt, those are the rules that
they should be applied, unless Ironman's like, I mean, typically Ironman is like, we just kind of like whatever our rules are, like that's what we're doing. So it might only be for Ironman, or it might only be for a challenge race, because challenge.
No.
So you think
when I was in freaking Frankfurt, those Germany people were just trying to make.
Oh yeah, because you got a penalty for.
No, I didn't get a penalty.
No, who got a penalty that was a little ridiculous?
That was different. They were putting their
something
number
with the
belt on as they're running to their bike, not
that was it.
Tent, and that was somehow a penalty.
Yeah,
but they didn't mention anywhere in any rules. There was no documentation that said anything about having to put your belt on before exiting the change tent. So and a lot of people got that penalty, but I didn't. But I was in a big argument with the head official because she was like, I had that tiny little bottle that I put 5 gels in. 5 gels. So like a lot of freaking calories for the race. And she's like, this is a fairing. You can't use this. I'm like, it's not a fairing. It holds 5 gels. That means that it's not a fairing. A fairing by definition is something that breaks the wind without an other purpose, like with no other purpose. Has another purpose. I need this. And I'm like checking my bike in, and she's like, nope, can't have it, can't. And I was like, okay, show me the rule where I can't have this. And she couldn't. She was just like, no, you guys are ridiculous with all the things you put on. I'm like, show me the rule and I'll take it off. There's no rule. She's like, oh, well, there's tape on it. So I took the tape off because it's bolted on to like a legit like bracket.
Yeah.
I just had tape on it to prevent vibration because it was like, make it quieter or whatever. And I'm like, okay, fine. I took the tape off, and she's just so mad at me. She's like, fine, you can have it. I'm like,
you won. You won that one.
Well,
So
yeah, I
put-
mean, like, I'm good to follow rules. Obviously, it's just if it's not a rule, it's not a rule.
Yeah.
I took screenshots of what the German triathlon, and it's in our chat. So that's what basically is not allowed in whatever. So you can see it
Oh
firsthand.
yeah, and they had a rear bottle mount rule. I
Yeah, the
remember
rear
seeing that
bottom
online.
one. It looks like if it fills in the gap between the wheel and you can't do that. But if it's like high above it, then you can. I'll send her a picture of that too, so you can
This
see
is
it.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't have any of that BTA stuff. They almost tried
It
to
looks
do
like as long as the bottom of for a front bottle, as long as the bottom of the bottle is flush with the top of your arms.
Like you
Yeah.
can't have that. That's
So
what.
basically, your BTA mounts are going to have to be low enough, and like probably like you'll have to have a custom one for Roth where it's like it's only low enough to sit between your arms, right? That's what I'm probably going to have to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I mean, for a
also-
long time, zip ties got me really far with a bottle cage zip tied to my aero bars, and
I'm sure they'll probably not let you do that anymore. I don't know.
So wait, I'm trying to see. The back of the bottle has to be flush with or in front of the back of your aero bar extensions.
Yeah,
It looks like.
it can't
So
be.
you got to get really long. Like there's all the stupid ways you can get around that. You know how some of those fast CT extensions are like super long.
Yeah,
Just get the longest ones, and like so your elbows are like at the front of it, and then you get an extra 4 inches of rear bottle.
all right. So some other fun rules that Ironman also has put in there, and they're kind of like no big deal, but you cannot. And this is just gonna make you laugh. Like the aero bar extension length cannot be beyond the leading edge of the front wheel. So just in case you wanted to ride like way over your front wheel, can't really go that far.
But some of those tall guys get close to that.
I know.
you know that position with Gustav, was that a joke?
Probably not.
Stuff-
They probably
I
tested.
don't know. I think he ended up backing it
'Cause-
off a bit.
Cause look, cause that's way past his
Is
front
it?
wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that wouldn't fly on this current standards.
yeah. So
But I think
Like
he-
it is. It's
I'm
kind of
pretty
hard
sure-
to tell because it's not a direct side angle. It probably is in front though.
but there we go.
I do think that they backed off on that a little bit. He was way
That's
too. Oh.
And Gustav's not even tall. So,
Must not have worked.
no, mine's like, I think it's because as it gets more and more extreme, someone's gonna make a Superman position where like they're not even sitting on a saddle. They're like
Lang.
their stomach is on something, and their like feet are straight behind them, and they're
I
pedaling.
gotta add for that same situation. Somebody was like creating a bike, and that popped up on my social media. I saw somebody with that same situation. I was like,
I don't know how that hasn't been made yet because that would obviously be faster.
it can't be that powerful though. Like laying down like that. I don't know.
But your legs are like all the wind drag. If you can get those straight behind you, you're probably saving 100 watts.
Don't even need. You can ride the race at 200 watts.
It'd be the
I hope we don't
most
go down.
dangerous thing ever. If you ever crash, head is just direct into whatever you're running into.
And then additionally, neoprene swim caps are allowed when wetsuits are allowed. So
Oh,
you can
But-
wear neoprene anytime there's a wetsuit, which I thought you already could.
I don't know why that would be an advantage, anyways.
No,
Like,
it's only allowed when you're wearing a wetsuit. So some people
So-
were wearing them in a non-wetsuit race, I guess.
Oh.
you would get so hot.
Oh yeah, previously there were no restrictions on the neoprene swim caps.
But
Okay.
some people, like, if it's a non-wetsuit race and it's a borderline and they're cold, they want to wear a neoprene cap to, like, stay warmer, you know?
I know, but what advantage does that give you? Like, it doesn't help you float more. Like,
No, just to be warmer. It probably
I
does
mean-
help you.
I know.
I don't know why they would restrict it though,
Yeah, I don't know why.
because maybe not everyone brought theirs and somebody else did. And
Maybe, I mean, theoretically, it would tiny bit make you more buoyant if because your forehead's in and it's neoprene.
it's more water dynamic because it's a bigger bulb.
maybe that's it.
I'll just wear 6 swim caps. They ain't stopping that. I'll be like, I can't. At the race, I can't hear it.
What?
So for sure, the biggest of those rules is the drafting time penalties. That's
And how they
injured
enforce
as
them.
well.
Yes.
Well-
everything applicable to the age groupers.
All right.
Well, I mean, time will tell to see how they enforce it and don't enforce it. And I think Ironman South Africa will be the first telltale sign.
Geelong.
Geelong. Oh, Geelong. That's in like
Yeah.
a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, Ellie should be racing. But that's when they're going to first see how the chaos goes down.
Amazing.
All right.
Yeah,
So
rules.
anyways, Lisa, what's you're doing? You didn't really talk about your race schedule. You're doing St. Anthony's.
The Frosted
yeah.
Tip Time Trial.
Frosted Tip Time Trial this Saturday. There's literally
Nip Time
only
Trial.
one other girl signed up.
I think I like your chances.
I like my chances. Yeah, so it's gonna be like 30 degrees, and it's gonna be
Was
awful.
it Taylor Nibb?
I thought about messaging her, asking her if she could come, just to like
She
make it
signs up
competitive.
under a different name, Yaler Tibb. Who's that?
So we don't know. But yeah, so doing that TT on Saturday should be a fun little local race. And then, yeah, Oceanside, St. Anthony's. I'm probably not going to race St. George, but I plan on being there. It just
You don't want to
depends.
miss it.
I don't want to miss it. I'm going to be there regardless.
Theoretically, such a great race for you though, because you're a great
Everyone-
time trialist.
Everyone
time
says
trialist
that. I don't think it's a time trialist course. I think it's like
It's absolutely a time trialist course.
It's your
I don't know.
head case going
Yeah.
on there.
But I
Look at all the
historically,
girls who've done great there. All great cyclists. Same with the boys.
yeah.
Freaking Sam Long just cranking everybody by an hour on the bike or whatever it was.
Definitely 15
Even without
minutes.
even without my shifting, I still like, just because you got such hills, like they're like strong hills though. They're not like, oh, it's a 10% hill for like 12 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
5%ers for like minutes, and that's where the strength comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jackson did it in like basically 56, 10 gearing.
That's like, oh man, when I think to last year, that's the most, I hate thinking about that race because it's so frustrating. It was like,
You're like trying to shift by kicking your rear direction.
and then, but not only that, but I got third by like 3 seconds. I
Yeah.
like had him. I made up like 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever. And then in the last mile, I could not freaking get him.
I just looked at that picture recently of you like sprinting to the finish with your like kit like all the way like open. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
That was extra drag.
Yeah. But I mean, St. George is such an iconic course. It just really depends for me on whether well, first of all, how I recover from Oceanside St. Anthony's, because historically it takes me longer to recover from races. But I really want to get into US Pro TT Nationals, and that's on May 21st. And I don't want to do St. George and then be completely fucked for that race, because that's a race that I really want to do well. And well, I mean, I have no expectations, but I want to pursue some time trialing a little bit more. And I know that running in a half Ironman's like completely zap my legs. So even though it'd be 11 days later, I just don't know how quickly my body can turn up. But there's a great chance I recover great from St. Anthony's and Oceanside, and they don't let me into the Pro TT Nationals, so then there's a chance I'll race.
Yeah. Are you like arguing with anybody currently? Because I feel like anytime you talk about the UCI, you're like arguing with
No, it's just USA Cycling.
USA Cycling.
I have to submit a petition to get in, just because I don't meet like the standards to get in. So there's a petition process that I'll do after the weekend, and it's just
Yeah.
like basically, why do you think that you should race in this?
Because I'm fast, obs.
Come
Look
on.
at this. Look at me.
Look at me. It'd be fun.
Look at the
And
results.
like there were, I don't know, maybe 25 women that competed in it last year. And I think they go off every 30 seconds or every minute. It's not going to add that much extra stress. And they're going to get, I think the entry fee is like $175 or something. So it's like free money for them.
Yeah. Is Annie Fuller
Well,
here?
here's the thing I'll say,
I have no idea.
just to try to get you to do St. George. Even if your legs are sore, it doesn't
can
really
bike.
change how well you can bike. I promise you that.
Oh,
I promise. When I did freaking Daytona and 2 days later I did Indian Wells, I literally did my best bike ever in Indian Wells, and from the first pedal stroke, it was painful.
But-
it was just pain in my leg. It's true. It's like, it hurts, but as long as you get the recovery, like I just pounded a bunch of calories in between those races, and like I was recovered, like energy wise. You can make your legs do it. Like, you're strong, and it's 12 days. You'll be good.
And get Raising Canes. Raising Canes.
Raising Canes.
Raising Cane's the only time I've ever had it.
It's a miracle.
Perfect.
I bet Thomas
But
Fernandez
I
doesn't
see what
know
you,
that.
like, I understand that does make sense, but I just think the chance that is going to affect your performance enough to be the difference between you qualifying versus not in that time trial is pretty low. I think you're going to be good either way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll play it by ears. But it really takes me a long time to recover from races. Like Oceanside last year to St. Anthony's, it's 3 weeks in between. And I like maybe ran 3 times and was completely fucked. Going into the week of St. Anthony's, I ran like 25 minutes before that race. And I was like,
how many minutes did you put into them on the bike?
I don't know, like 3.
Yeah, it's only a bike race.
I know. But they're all just bikers.
You're not improving your argument.
You just beat a bunch of bikers at Tucson.
Yeah. I don't know. So we'll see what like how it shakes out. But Jackson, I feel like you should not want me to race because I'm the best on race supporter. Like,
Good point.
I give you good tips, good time
And
things.
I'll give you an e-bike or a scooter, and you can be everywhere.
I'd be everywhere. It'd be amazing. That's like what you guys should actually be wanting.
I'll revoke my support of you doing the race only if you commit to absolutely utilizing that e-bike to go wherever I am, and you still give a shit about anybody else.
Hey, come on.
Hey, but you're gonna be right beside me, bud. So it's gonna be perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's my year. This is my year. I'm feeling it. It's all coming
love
back
it.
to me now. All right. Well, good episode. I think covered all the goodies, and we missed Garrick. I don't know where he is in Florida. He said he's got too
Something
many.
about his nephew's something.
He said
His
something
nieces-
about
nieces
I was
and-
going to join, but then I just went about living my life. So I think that was his.
Visiting my niece and nephews in Florida tonight. What a great uncle.
That was a
Is
good
that a
one.
Diet Coke?
No. It's a sparkling strawberry basil mint,
Ooh.
which Steve
Whole
thinks
Foods
it's
Market?
Steve thinks it's a savory like fizzy flavor, and I think it's a sweet. It has strawberry, and he's like, it's savory because there's basil in it.
I went with Beach Plum La Croix. It's
Ooh,
a gem of a flavor.
I like it. My favorite seltzer is the Summer Berry Waterloo. So if you're listening to this and you're a fan of mine and you see me someplace, you should just offer me a Summer Berry Waterloo seltzer, and I will be.
They don't
so
sell
happy.
that on the feed though, so we can't talk about
Shit.
Yeah, but
Yes.
fizzy water. It's different.
it. Hey, it's good carbon dioxide training. I drink 30 of them a day, and it saturates my cells with CO2, and then I'm way more, and then my body just takes more oxygen because there's more CO2. It's the way it works.
One real last short story. Today at Master Swimming, we had to do 100 yards all out, and I dove in, and I was really tired from a hard VO2 workout I did yesterday on the bike, and I was like feeling good the first 75, and a piano fell on my back the last 25, and I was in lactic up to my eyeballs, and I like went into rigor mortis, and if I swam that last 25 in probably 30 seconds.
What was your time total?
103 it was in yards.
That's pretty fast.
I mean, it's okay, but
That's pretty good off the block in yards.
Oh, and I think I'm like slower from a dive than I am from a wall push because
I've seen
the
you dive
is
at camp.
so bad.
Yeah, your dive was bad.
But I'll leave you guys with that.
Well-
So
Good story.
14, 14, 14, 21.
All right, and I will lead us out with a prayer. Your heads, dear 6 pound 8 ounce baby Jesus, don't even know a word yet, covered in a blanket. Please take care of Jackson's metatarsal and give it all the healing and growth. Steroid, non, completely legal. His own body's going to produce it 10 times the amount. He's going to come back and win everything. And Conan next year.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Jesus,
Amen.
amen.
Thank you, 10 pound 8 ounce baby Jesus.
Oh, God.
And on that note,
Cancel.
peace.
Eric, maybe cut that out.
Nah, peace out.
Peace out.
Out.